Last April, my mom retired. For 32 years, she had worked for the same corporation. She was one of the only original members of the staff, and they had to create a 32 years of service award for her because no one had ever been with the company as long as she had. Before she left, they held a party for her, and my husband and I were invited. My dad would be there too, and I couldn't wait to attend and be able to help her celebrate. What I did not expect, however, was for that night to be such an eye-opener for me, such a look into my mom's life as a young mother back in the early 1970s and 80s. As a mother, I am continually amazed by the perspective I gain into my parents' years as young parents themselves. But that night, my perspective was a new one, as I put myself into my mom's place as a young mother, and I realized what hadn't hit me until that moment, just how similar our stories were. My mother graduated from secretarial school after high school prior to having children. She worked for 2 of the mayors of the city that I now live in. When she had me, she left her job to become a stay-at-home mother, as many moms did then, and as many moms do today. At some point, when we were little, she became the Avon lady, a home-based business owner, circulating catalogs, taking orders, meeting with customers, delivering orders. I remember being a runner with my brother, jumping out of the car, running up to the doors, and leaving the catalogs and bags hanging on the door handles as she drove from house to house. Although I finished up a 4-year college program after high school, I too left my job and took on a home-based business when my kids were born, my path mirroring my mother's. Although slightly different along the way, we ultimately ended up in the same place. I had gone back to work teaching when my oldest was just 9 weeks old, and I stayed there for 2 years, starting the new business when she was a year old. I kept my home-based business for 11 years. Through 2 more pregnancies, I had 3 children rather than 2, but I worked hard in between having babies and caring for toddlers and preschoolers. I took orders, filled orders, wrote newsletters, hosted meetings, taught classes, spoke at regional events, and more, all while raising my children. It was very difficult, but it was very worthwhile, and very much like what my mom had done with the 2 of us in tow all those years ago. One day, my mother received a phone call. We were in elementary school. I was 9, my brother was 7. A friend asked her to cover her job for a number of months while she went out on maternity leave. As I listened to my mother tell this story during her retirement party, she relayed how surprised she was to get that call and how she had not been looking to return to work. I set out conditions. I couldn't leave before they were on the bus, and I had to be home when they were getting off the bus. I needed school vacations and summers off, and if they were sick, I couldn't work, she told a colleague that night. No problem, they had told her. As I listened, I realized with amazement that yet again, how similar our journeys as mothers were. When my 3rd daughter was just 3 and my middle was in preschool, I was volunteering at a school event for my oldest daughter, a 3rd grader. At that event, I was discovered taking photos by the editor of our local paper. She asked to see my photos and loved them, and she asked me if I could write, to which I said I could. And she offered me a job as the educational reporter, right there on the spot. I had not been out looking for a job, and I had 3 very young children, 2 of whom were not even in school all day yet. So I laid out conditions. I could not work full-time. I needed summers and vacations off, and if they were sick, I couldn't work. I had to be able to put them on the bus and take them off the bus, drop them off at preschool and pick them up at preschool. And I also needed to be able to take all of them with me anytime I had to cover a story when they weren't at school and there was no one home to take care of them. No problem, the editor told me. My mom never left her temporary job, and as the years went on, she worked longer days, taking less time off because we were older. And as my children have gotten older, I too have taken on a bigger workload, working longer, fuller days and weeks when I can. My mother proved to be a valuable asset to the company because of her strong work ethic, her honesty, and her type A personality. She moved up. She went to college for 12 years, earning an associate's degree and then a bachelor's degree, ranking first in her class at Providence College when I was pregnant with my first daughter in 1999. I will never forget watching her carry the flag into the graduation ceremony, leaning over the railing to see her better. I was 28 and she was 52. I was so proud of her, and a woman next to me asked if we were twins. No, I answered, that's my mother. But I realize now that although we are not twins, our stories and journeys as mothers are similar. They'll obviously never be exactly the same, but our core values are the same. Our goals as mothers, career women, and our work ethic are the same. I can only hope that our paths will continue to be similar, as I have learned more than ever that so many of the reasons I am the way I am, both at home and at work, are because of the way she was as a mother and an employee, and because of the things that she held near and dear to her heart, us.